The MC Hakuno got hell of a lot more interesting after this latest episode of Fate Extra, last Encore. So to get right into it, because this is a part that really intrigued me about this episode, the MC, from what was implied with this episode, he is a mass of dead souls, dead people, all into one body. He is someone that has been stuck in a time loop, constantly dying over and over, and upon dying over and over, and constantly being stuck in a time loop, you have it to where everybody else that has died, they have all come together, made like one collective consciousness, and they have basically put all their hopes and dreams, or their anger, so to say, within Hakuno. So Hakuno, the reason why he's nothing but anger and hatred, and that's all that drives him, he has nothing else, is because he is literally every dead person in this world. Everyone that has died, he encompasses all of that, all of those emotions, the regret, anger, and all of that within him. I'm assuming he's some form of glitch, because in this episode, in real life, as we know, the world of the living and the world of the dead, you can't see the world of the dead, because when you're dead, basically. You're not going to step back into the world of the living. And so, Seraph, it wanted to see what happens, and analyze the world of the dead. And so it had this other little segment of the different floors, the very, very bottom part of the floor, to where there is the world of the dead. Where everybody dies, they go there. And so we saw Hakuno at the beginning of the series near the floor of the dead. We saw him near that area to where everybody goes to die and they just disappear. Most likely Hakuno, he could potentially be a glitch. After Seraph constantly wanting to analyze the dead and all that and see, what they think or how they feel or whatever, you have it to where these emotions all flooded into Hakuno and created what he is. He is this distortion in the program. So, I feel like now looking at this episode, I feel like Hakuno is an NPC. I actually don't even think he's a legit person at this point. I actually think he is an NPC that has been created thanks to everybody else that has died, and he is everybody's dead souls basically within him, which actually explains Deadface, that one mode he has in this episode, or the previous episode, to where he's able to just, have extreme strength and extreme speed and all that. It explains a lot. So, this does let us know that Hakuno is definitely not normal by any means. Now, I am very curious. I'm very curious if he might potentially be something else besides just an NPC or a glitch. I'm just gonna say, I'm seeing a lot of similarities there. When it comes to Avenger and Hakuno, I'm seeing some connections there. And I could be wrong, I could be right, I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities there. And it does make me wonder if Hakuno could potentially be an Avenger, and also if he is an NPC/glitch. That's just my impressions I got from this episode. It was revealed at one point in time, the Master Dan, he was a chivalrous person. He had chivalry. He was someone that actually took a lot of honor in his fights. When you look at his past self and you look at his self right now, he's the exact opposite. It is revealed that Robin Hood is someone that wasn't really chivalrous, apparently, in the past, while you have it to where Dan, he was. He had chivalry. And it's like their personalities completely swapped after 999 years. And I guess if a lot of time passes, that's going to do something to you. Especially if you find out that you cannot move on to the next floor. You're not a proper master, and you're not a proper servant. Obviously, it's going to upset you. You're going to feel very angry that the goal, the ideal that you wanted, whatever you want to do, you can never obtain it. So he was always disconnected from the one he loved. He can never move on. And so I feel bad for the man. It does explain why he had like a character change and shift over time, because he lost what he wanted and it just changed into where he just wanted to basically die and all of that. But at the same time, he didn't just want to die. He wanted to go down fighting. So I like that little level of detail we got with Dan in this episode and Robin Hood. I was told on social media that apparently the content within those flashbacks, apparently that content is actually from the previous game, the game series of Fate Extra. So I'm going to assume, I'm assuming that what this means is that Fate Extra Last Encore, which makes sense if you think about the title, I'm assuming this takes place after the games. That means that this isn't just like a completely separate route. Something, let's say, you have 3 parts for a game, like different directions you could take. Like, for instance, Fate Stay Night. You have, the Fate route, you have the Unlimited Blade Works route, and then you have Heaven's Fill route. I'm assuming Last Encore isn't its own route. It's literally like a part 1, part 2, part 3. That's basically what this is. This is like the continuation of Fate Extra. So, in a way, even though it was stated that this series can be for newcomers to Fate, but also it can be for, old fans of Fate, I'm more leaning towards that this feels more for the Fate Extra fans. That's what I'm leaning towards after looking at this episode, because even though I'm enjoying this episode in the series of Fate Extra Last Encore, I can definitely see that they're definitely more on the side of for the Fate Extra fans than the newcomers, because they have still yet to really clarify a lot about command seals. Now, I know what they are. I know what command seals are and all that. You don't have to tell me, because I've seen enough Fate. But, I could definitely see that this Fate series, even though it can be for newcomers, because it's not necessarily attached to other games and stuff, besides the other Fate stuff, I do feel like this is just more for the original fans of Fate Extra, the more I see it. But like I said, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. I wanted to point that out. Anyways, let's get into the Ronnie stuff. So Ronnie, I don't know much about her. I'm gonna be honest. I know she's probably a very important character from another Fate series, because I know there's a lot of constant, reoccurring characters throughout, Type Moon. But, Ronnie died in this episode, and I'm just like, that kind of sucks. In a way, she got what she wanted, because she knew that she, couldn't do anything else. She was basically just wanting to make it to where the floor disappeared, get rid of the floor master, for Hakuno can move up. And so, in a way, she got what she wanted, and she was never going to move up in the first place. She didn't want to be saved. She wanted to basically die. So, even though she got what she wanted, I still felt very bad for her, especially when she got shot down from Dan in this episode. I'm like, it's kind of sad, because I wanted more of her character. She seemed like a mysterious character. I want to know more about her. And speaking of mysterious characters, can we talk about Rin for a second? Like, Rin, where are you at? Like, we know Rin was there in the previous episode. Where's Rin? There was a quick little scene when we saw how Dan was constantly killing masters that came to the floor. Shinji got shot. Yeah, Shinji got shot. And this once again proves that there has definitely been time loops. A lot of time loops. Like, so many time loops, in fact, that characters that, died in previous floors pop up in this other floor. For instance, as we know, the Shinji that we saw previously, and all that a couple episodes ago, he was the floor master. But apparently, one Shinji managed to make it to the floor where Dan was and got shot as soon as he entered the floor. So, just wanted to point that one out. So it is proving the fact that time loops are happening, and Hakuno has died many, many times. Saber's OP. Oh, she OP. Like, yo, she OP. So she has a extra noble phantasm, like a certain little, ability, and she's able to come back 3 times. That's pretty broken. I'm not gonna lie, that's broken. And the reason why I say that's broken is because that reminds me a lot of the Berserker class servant from Fate Stay Night. Not gonna go into details for spoiler reasons, but it reminds me a lot of Berserker. And when I saw her say that she could come back to life 3 times, I'm like, okay, that's a very OP Saber class servant. That would definitely be a very, very strong servant to have, especially coming back 3 times. And I do like the little detail to her history, her actual myth and all that. Apparently, she opened her eyes up 3 days after her throat was slit. That's some savage stuff right there. Opening your eyes up after your throat was slit 3 days ago. That's not normal. So, yeah, Red Saber. She is, a mystery. Definitely a mystery. I do like her personality, as I've been saying, but I especially love her abilities. Like, the privilege and all that, Imperial privilege, to the ability to come back 3 times as well. I wonder if that recharges. That is something I'm very curious about, because I do know that there are some servants that can come back to life, and it can recharge depending on the master, because of their mana supply. I am very curious if Saber, her ability to come back, I wonder if that can recharge or not. Since she has, 3 lives or whatever, I wonder if there's, a sufficient enough master that can have a lot of mana. For instance, let's take, Ilya from, Fate Stay Night. I wonder if that could recharge Saber. I could be wrong there. I don't know. I highly doubt Hakuno is probably that powerful to be able to recharge Saber's death. Like, you know, the limitation of it and give it multiple lives or give her multiple lives or whatever. But I do wonder if there was a strong enough master, could Saber continuously die and come back as long as there was enough mana to recharge her. So I'm going to leave it that, you know, debate for another time, though. So apparently Dan already had a grave. Dan actually had a grave for a while now, but, you know, yeah, it does imply that he has died many times, and they're very aware that they've died many times. And basically, when he sat down next to the grave looking at Dan and just speaking, it shows like he's ready to move on. They could finally, you know, rest in peace because they were finally defeated. So I do feel bad. But at the same time, it does show that, you know, Robin Hood had a good, decent relationship with his master at the very end, especially to say something like he did. So that was a nice little moment. I'm not gonna lie. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the episode. I think that's pretty much about it. I mean, I've talked about the whole loop, Ronnie's death, Dan, Robin Hood, the Imperial privilege to the deaths. I think I've covered everything. I believe I have. If I have missed anything, correct me in the comments below. And so with that, I want to end this video here. So I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.